Why we forget and how to remember anything. Have you ever wondered why you can vividly remember a hurtful comment from 10 years ago, yet completely forget the name of someone you shook hands with just 5 minutes ago? At first glance, this might seem like a failure of memory, but in reality, the opposite is true. Forgetfulness is not a flaw of the brain. It is a highly sophisticated evolutionary mechanism designed to help us survive and function efficiently in a world overflowing with information. Think of your brain as a library, not an infinite one, but a library with limited space. Every single day, you absorb millions of pieces of information, sounds, images, faces, emotions, thoughts, news, fleeting impressions. If your brain tried to store everything, that library would quickly turn into a chaotic warehouse, a place where nothing truly important could be found. Forgetting is simply the brain's way of taking out the trash. It clears away unnecessary details to make room for what truly matters. We don't forget because our brains are weak. We forget because our brains are protecting us from information overload. The science of forgetting. Neuroscience shows us that forgetting is not random. It follows very clear and predictable rules. 1. Natural attrition, the forgetting curve. The moment you learn something new, a countdown timer begins. Without reinforcement, up to 70% of that information can disappear within just 24 hours. It's like morning mist, clearly visible at dawn, but quickly fading as the sun rises. The brain operates on the principle of energy efficiency. Information that is not used is judged unnecessary and eventually erased. 2. Lack of focus, failure at input. In many cases, we don't forget because our memory is poor, but because we never truly learned the information in the first place. When you read a book while constantly checking your phone, or watch a lecture while thinking about something else, the information only reaches short-term memory. It is never properly recorded in long-term storage. In other words, you can't remember something you never truly paid attention to. 3. Interference, when memories overlap. Imagine your brain as an overstuffed drawer. When old and new memories are too similar, they begin to overlap and blur into one another. You feel like you almost remember, but can't quite grasp the exact detail. That frustrating sensation is called memory interference. How to fight the law of forgetting. The good news is this: you don't need a genius-level memory to remember things long-term. You only need 3 keys. First key: use spaced learning. Don't cram. Imagine building a brick wall. If you stack layer after layer without letting the mortar dry, the wall will eventually collapse. Your brain works the same way. Cramming the night before an exam might help you pass the test the next morning, but a week later, most of that information is gone. That's because neural connections need time to strengthen and consolidate. This is why spaced repetition is so powerful. Instead of studying for 10 hours in one day, break it up. 1 hour today, 1 hour tomorrow, then again after 3 days, 1 week later, and 1 month later. The most powerful moment to review information is right before you forget it. That moment of struggle sends a clear signal to your brain: this matters, don't delete it. With each review, the neural pathways grow stronger. The myelin sheath around your neurons thickens, allowing signals to travel faster and more efficiently. You can use tools like Anki, Quizlet, or simple flashcards. Review difficult material more often and gradually increase the interval for what feels easy. This is how you use your brain's energy wisely, not by repeating what you already know, but by strengthening what you're about to lose. Second key: be an inquirer, not a passive reader. This may be the most important learning principle of all, and also the most misunderstood. Most people learn passively, rereading pages, highlighting sentences, watching lectures. These actions create an illusion of understanding. You recognize the words, but you haven't truly mastered the knowledge. Active recall changes everything. Instead of pushing information into your brain, you pull it out. Try this. After finishing a chapter, close the book. Put away your notes, take a blank sheet of paper, and write down everything you can remember. At first, your mind may feel empty. That discomfort is a good sign. It means your brain is working hard to retrieve information. Another powerful method is the Feynman technique. Choose a concept and explain it as if you were teaching a child. If you get stuck, that struggle shows you exactly where your understanding is weak. Being wrong is not failure. Forgetting and then correcting yourself builds memory far more deeply than passive reading ever could. Memory is not created when you consume information. It is created when you retrieve it. Final key: visualize everything. The human brain was never designed to remember dry text or abstract numbers. Our ancestors didn't memorize formulas. They remembered locations, shapes, sounds, and danger. That's why the brain responds so strongly to images, emotion, and space. To remember long-term, translate information into the brain's native language. This is where techniques like the memory palace, also known as the method of loci, become powerful. Imagine your home. Place each piece of information on a familiar object: a tomato on the couch, bananas hanging from the shower head. The more absurd the image, the stronger the memory. You can also use mind maps. Instead of linear notes, draw ideas branching outward like a tree. This mirrors how neural networks actually work. Never let information exist in isolation. Always ask, how does this connect to what I already know? When new knowledge attaches to existing knowledge, it becomes incredibly durable, like adding another thread to a spider web. Final thoughts. Memory is not a cold machine. It's more like a living system, like a garden. Sleep is when your brain weaves memories together. A healthy diet, especially omega-3 fats, supports neural function. So don't be harsh on yourself when you forget a name or misplace your keys. Once you understand how memory works, you stop fighting your brain and start working with it. At first, these techniques may feel tiring. Testing yourself, visualizing strange images, all of it takes effort. But the reward is enormous. You'll stop fearing exams and large amounts of information. Instead, you'll feel confident, calm, and in control. You'll realize that you already own the most powerful supercomputer in the universe, your own mind. Start small. When this audio ends, pause for a moment. Try to recall the 3 main ideas you just heard. That single act is the first step towards building a powerful, lasting memory.